allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We had a couple speeds going. We had like a harmony. And around.
What?
You're doing the minutes?
Yes.
Can you do roll call?
Yes. Mr. Burns?
Here.
Miss Angeline?
Here.
Miss Meyer? Miss Bolton?
Here.
Mr. Babel? Miss Kemp?
Here.
So Mrs. Meyer had informed us last month that she was going to be out of town tonight, and Mr. Babel, I'd like to wish my condolences to him. He's dealing with his loss and arrangements for that. If anyone would like to motion to excuse either of them.
Can they be done together?
Probably should do them separate.
Okay.
So,
Which one are you making the motion for?
I'll motion Ted.
okay.
I'll second.
It's been motion to excuse Mr. Babel from tonight's council meeting by Mrs. Kemp, second by Mrs. Bolton. We have roll call.
Mr. Burns?
Yes.
Miss Angeline?
Yes.
Miss Bolton?
Yay.
Miss Kemp?
Yes.
If there's no other motions, we'll go ahead and proceed.
Well, I'll make a motion to excuse Ms. Meyer.
And I'll second it.
Okay. So motion and excuse to, or motion and second to excuse Mrs. Meyer from tonight's meeting. Motion by Mrs. Bolton, second by Mrs. Kemp. We have a roll call.
Mr. Burns?
Yes.
Miss Angeline?
Yes.
Miss Bolton?
Yay.
Miss Kemp?
Yes.
Okay, now we'll move on. I'd like to entertain a motion to approve the minutes from the May 13th, 2026 council meeting. Is there any questions or discussions?
I'll motion for approval.
I'll second.
It's been motioned by Mrs. Kemp and second by Mr. Burns to approve the minutes from the May 13th, 2026 council meeting. Cindy, can you do the roll call, please?
Mr. Burns?
Yes.
Miss Angeline?
Yes.
Miss Bolton?
Yay.
Miss Kemp?
Yes.
Next item would be a motion to approve pay ordinance 6/2026. Any discussion or questions regarding that?
I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
It's been motioned by Mrs. Bolton, second by Mr. Burns to approve pay ordinance 6/2026. Roll call.
Mr. Burns?
Yes.
Miss Angeline?
Yes.
Miss Bolton?
Yay.
Miss Kemp?
Yes.
Alrighty, now we're to the Hamilton County Sheriff's report.
Good evening. I'm subbing in for Sergeant Sneak today. Get the press report, so I haven't been presented at one of these meetings before, so if I screw up, I apologize in advance. So during the reporting period of May 2026, there were 171 billable calls for service and 73 non-billable calls for service. The average response time was 7 minutes. The average time on scene was 15 minutes. During the reporting period, there were 20 incident reports taken. 12 of those were non-criminal incident reports, and 8 were criminal reports. One of those cases were assigned for detectives for investigation. Same period, there were 6 crash reports taken, and 8 citations issued. Now, he has some incidents of interest. Does he usually read these off to you? Okay. Noteworthy incidents and events. On May 1st, we had an overdose at 109 North Miami Avenue. Deputies self-initiated response to 109 North Miami to Miami Motel for a disturbance outside the front of the building. Upon arrival, Mayor White and 2 small children were out front. Deputies responded to a unit at the back of the building to find an unresponsive female white 29. CPR and Narcan were administered. EMS arrived on scene to render aid until the patient was pronounced deceased at 03:45 hours. We called the Marin Task Force. JFS responded to secure the children. Witnesses were detained and one was arrested. He had 8 outstanding warrants. So this is still under investigation, I can tell you, by the Maryland Task Force. Assault ×2. This was at Taylor High School. Officers were dispatched to Taylor High School for reports of a juvenile, female 17, assaulted 2 school staff members while she was trying to get to another juvenile to assault that person. So, she was very uncooperative, attempted to flail her arms to resist being placed into custody, but she was successfully cuffed, transported to 2020 Hospital. Let's see, burglary at 500 block of Mount Nebo. Officers responded to the 500 block of Nebo in reference to a neighbor hooking up a hose to his residence to steal water. Once on the scene, contact was made with the victim, female victim, who stated she found her neighbor, male white, 26, inside a residence holding an extension cord. Deputies located the suspect in the residence during their investigation. He had gone into steal electricity, so he was arrested for burglary. And that's all I have prepared. You have any questions?
What's the difference between billable and non-billable?
So I always put it this way. Dispatched is billable, meaning they're dispatched by the comm center. Like you called in, somebody stole your wallet, you called in the comm center, they dispatched us out. Non-billable is self-initiated. A lot of times that's traffic stops, the officer initiated himself, or some type of investigation. Okay,
Thank you.
thank you.
Now to the public comments section. The Village of Cleves values community input and encourages participation. While we welcome passionate viewpoints, we ask that all comments remain respectful and free of disruptive behavior. Our goal is to maintain a constructive and professional environment. Thank you for your cooperation. Cindy, has anyone signed in to speak?
No.
No one signed in. Does anyone in the public want
might not
to
have
address?
been.
There were names out there.
Oh, I wasn't told.
I think a lot of people sign in there when they come.
I
You
signed
guys
in.
sign in, don't you?
I signed in to speak. There were 2, there was a sign in and
Okay.
there was a public comment.
Okay.
Yes. 4 people.
Okay. I'll let you read off the first.
Joshua Cox.
You could step up, please state your name and address.
My name is Joshua Cox. My address is 552 Aston View Lane.
Thank you.
Purpose for me showing up to today's meeting is twofold. One is to first thank Administrator Habig for taking my call yesterday and meeting me at the Cleves Community Park about some concerns that I had. Then I also felt it important to talk about some things that I've observed over the last couple of weeks as it pertains to maintenance of the park and the inability for the village to get the park together for our kids in the community, particularly the fields. And I do think it's important to know that I spent quite a bit of time observing the maintenance staff cutting the grass down at the park over the last 3 weeks. And the performance has been underwhelming. And the urgency around getting the park back open for the community has been underwhelming. And so, as I talked to you, Mayor Meister, and you, Administrator Habig, I thought it was important to put it on public record that those observations have happened. I'll continue to make those observations, but I do think it's incumbent upon this administration to, take notice and begin to manage that process for us. If we're asking for more money from the community and we're not managing the resources that we already have, that's problematic for me as a citizen. I'm sure others in the community as well, and it should be problematic for you folks as well.
Any questions, Mr. Cox? Thank you very much.
I'm just curious, I don't want to belabor anything or necessarily start a huge discussion. This is public comments, so we want to give people their shot. But what are the specific fields that we're trying to use right now that are not in service? Or what is the reason?
The baseball fields at Cleves Community Park. And we could go into this, if you'd like, but again, I think there's other comments and I want to be respectful of the time.
But in general, it's grass cutting rather than
No, it's field maintenance. Absolutely field maintenance.
Dragging.
Not just dragging the fields, right? There's a number of things that go into taking care of baseball fields. I've been around it my entire life. I have a ton of experience in it. And we didn't make an attempt to get the fields together. We were scheduled to have practice down there yesterday, our team personally, but what we were, first of all, we went to the Twitter account that's supposed to tell us whether or not the fields are available for play. We show up down at the park, there's nothing posted to say that they're not available for play, but they're clearly not available for play. And then on top of that, there was no attempt made to get them available for play. They've been in the same shape for the last 3 weeks. And as a coach, that's frustrating, but for our kids who haven't been able to get on dirt and practice and play the game that they love, we let them down. And that's, just want to make it known. And again, Mr. Clarence, I'd love, if you want feedback, I'd be glad to give you feedback.
I will get it secondhand at first, but, and we can follow up. Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Ryan McDonald?
Ryan McDonald?
I just wanted to, Ryan McDonald, 189 Edgefield Drive, Cleves, Ohio. I just wanted to address the 1% tax. The last time I was here, I made a few comments, and I wanted to add to those comments in that I believe that the argument that I'm hearing from council and from editorials in Chuck's newsletter and other places are that there's a lot of talk about exchanging a property tax for a 1% income tax. And the value that is being asserted is that we're shifting the burden to people outside of Cleves in part. But I think the bigger story that people really need to pay attention to is the overall pot of money that you're trying to take from the community, however you define the community, whether it be Cleves residents or people at the school, is gonna be a lot more. You're raising taxes. You're raising taxes by a lot. And the idea that you're gonna put $1 in my right pocket and you're gonna take $5 out of my left pocket and then tell me I'm better off because I got $1 in my right pocket, it is very misleading to the public, in my opinion. So I just wanted to mention that because what we're talking about here is really a large tax increase being imposed. And just because some of that tax increase will be imposed on other people doesn't make it right. I'm a board member at the Three Rivers School District. I'm not here on behalf of the Three Rivers School District. I'm not speaking for them. I want to make that clear. I'm speaking on my own personal capacity. But it does alarm me as well that at the school district we have people who don't make a lot of money. We have bus drivers, we have cooks, we have lots of people who can't afford to pay another 1% of their taxes, income tax for them. And that's going to hit them very hard. And the idea that we're going to pass that burden on to them seems to me to be rather unfair. The other thing is that our union negotiations are going to happen next year, and if you take 1% of their salary away, guess what they're going to want from the board? They're going to want more money, and I don't blame them. And so if they get more money from us, we're already in deficit spending by $1.6 million this year, and it's going to get worse next year. So we're going to have to come at some point to the public for new dollars. So all you're doing is taking money from one group that's then going to have to be replenished by us, and then we're going to have to tax the public more or ask the public for taxes. So it's the money you get back, the couple dollars you're going to get back from what you're proposing to get rid of, and then raise taxes 3, 4, 5 times more overall, is going to end up coming back to bite the very residents that you're saying you're saving money for. So it's not like you can take other people's money and expect there not to be a counter reaction. There's going to be. And the largest employer in Cleves is the school district. That's where a huge amount of that 1% is going to come from. And you're talking about taxing people bus drivers, cooks, aides, that, you know, they're gonna need to be compensated for that back from the school district, and we're gonna have to raise taxes to make up for that. And so that's gonna go right back into raising taxes on homes. So I think that you have to consider all of those factors, not just that we wanna shift the burden to people outside Cleves, because that burden's gonna come right back, to us. And we're gonna have to tax the homes in Miami Township, including Cleves, to make up for that. And I also don't want people to be distracted from the fact that, don't focus on the $1 that Cleves Council's talking about putting in your right pocket, because they're about to take $5 out of your left pocket. And that's what we should really be talking about. Thank you.
Any comments from council? All right. next.
Doug Nicholas?
Doug Nicholas, 166 Edgefield. I don't want to repeat everything that was just said, but with respect to the $1, you guys had put out a newsletter or a flyer, whatever you want to call it, and at the bottom it said 3.9 mil will be, you guys were going to let that just expire, I assume? And you put a dollar amount in there, right? I think it was $137 per 100,000 evaluation. Does that sound right? Okay. Who put the flyer out? Like, who researched that number?
Administrator.
Okay.
Did Rita have anything to do with that?
We reached out to Hampton County, 15
Okay.
members from the village.
Okay. So, I was curious because it's the only general operating levy I think that you guys have going on right now. Which, so, everything else is safety services, fire, public safety, right? So it's the only one that you can spend dollars for anything but, public safety, right? So I went over to the auditors, anybody can go over in 504, and I asked about that particular levy, is that amount accurate? And it took them about 2 minutes, and the gentleman came back and he said that that levy is subject to, I think it's a homestead exception. Basically, there's rollbacks, so the state kicks in money to the village. The taxpayer themselves don't pay 3.9 mils. So your flyer is incorrect. At most, he said, we would pay 2.507 mils, but, which would be about $88 per 100,000. But more than likely, it's around 2.25. I didn't want to make him spend a half an hour. You know, he found this in 2 minutes. I'm happy you guys can have these copies. It'll show you everything. But the numbers that you're saying, he's saying take $1, it's 50 cents out of one pocket and taking 10 out of the other. And so what you guys are putting out there isn't even accurate with respect to how much you're claiming that the taxpayers are gonna save off of this general operating levy. So I think before you go forward on this, you need to put this back out, put the correct numbers back out. Go down there and find out for sure. Like I said, he said he thought it was between 75 and 78. At most, it's $88 per 100,000. Nowhere near 137. That's all I have.
Thank you. I would like to make one comment in regards to when we were discussing the options of levy, income tax, et cetera. And maybe there's some misinterpretation. We didn't put the information out there like we're comparing apples to apples, because we know very well it's no comparison to the levy that we're not going to seek renewal versus the income tax. We know that the income tax is going to cost residents more. It's going to cost each of us more. So I apologize to our residents if that was misinterpreted. We weren't trying to compare the two equally. We weren't trying to say, well, we're gonna do the income tax, but instead we're gonna take this away. We weren't trying to give the impression that they're gonna equal out, because they're not. They're not apples to apples, and we are very much more.
I know I was. I even made the comment during that meeting, I believe, that we knew that what you were gonna save on the income tax levy coming off potentially was not gonna save you, depending on the income in the household. How much you save and how much you don't save, it was just something that was considered as a way to take some of the burden off of the property owners, but I don't think any of us have ever said that we believe that that would put anybody ahead of the game. It was just something that was considered to make things a little better for our residents.
Does it change anything that it's half as much as you said it was gonna come off though?
Yeah, I think we relied on figures we got from Hamilton County.
Do you want this?
So, no, I'll call because I was here 18 years as the clerk treasurer. I'm very familiar with those things. I also know that not everybody gets the homestead. Me and my husband didn't get it because we made too much money. So not everybody gets that homestead. But I will be glad to call them. And I'm glad you brought it to our attention because I don't want to publish anything that is not accurate. But if we get figures from Hamilton County, we're gonna assume that that's accurate. But we should correct it if it's not. So I don't have any problem with getting the information out there. The accurate information.
Is there one more speaker?
Yes. Matt
Oh,
Can I
Gates?
ask
Just
one
one,
more?
Cindy.
Sorry.
Go ahead, Kevin.
Sorry, can I just ask one more point of fact? I'll put you on the spot a little, Cindy. I think the way Mr. Nicholas said it was that that's the only amount of money that we can spend directly out of general fund. Am I putting words in your mouth or not?
Well, I'm just saying there's 4 levies and it looks like one is the general and then there's the safety services, a fire and EMS and a public safety are the other 3.
Yeah,
Okay,
general,
so-
we can, okay, go ahead.
So the question is that statement leaving out the inside millage for our general fund, or
We
do I
do have
misunderstand
inside
it?
millage that we could use general fund. This is, yeah,
So there is another stream other than the dedicated vote upon levies
right.
that is toward that purpose. I don't think it bears on the increases or the decreases or the balance at all, just for a point of clarification on the purpose of the funds.
So there will still be money
I
coming
believe our
into the
inside
general
millage
fund.
is 3.79,
I don't have that
and
in
this
front of me.
mill is
I
3.9.
know, right.
Yeah, so we would still get an inside millage.
And I did actually want to ask 2 things, but it was on the homestead. Is that only for advanced age or retiring populations, or is that for?
Yeah, my husband got really
primary
excited that
residents,
we
or-
would get the homestead.
I've
and
never understood
I
this.
checked
Based on
into it,
income.
and your
Based on
income
income.
has to be under a certain amount for you to qualify. So I had to break the news to my husband that we were not gonna qualify, so.
Same here.
Same here,
Same
even with
here.
my disability, I looked into it and stuff, and,
Not many.
yeah,
It's very hard.
I don't qualify for it.
So-
With respect to this levy, he didn't say anything about income qualifications. He just wrote some notes on here, owner occupant, new business, homestead, and there's a yes next to, does the levy qualify? That's it. That's what he gave.
Yeah, and I'm sure that that's accurate, just not everybody gets that.
I am assuming good faith from you, and I am assuming that I will continue to not understand homestead exemptions.
All right, fourth speaker.
Matt Gates?
Matt Gates, I'm a business owner with Triple Crown. My address is 6740 Sally Court, which is not in the village, but we're looking to build in the village. If I'm not allowed to talk, I understand.
No, you're allowed to go.
Okay. But my business on Triple Crown, we've been looking into the revitalization of Cleves downtown here. Been talking with Justin, he's been very helpful, and we've been looking for a few years on a place to build. We've looked in Green Township, we looked in Miami Township, and we kind of got drawn to this, and we were drawn to places where we wouldn't have any contacts, and this kind of popped up right in the middle of our search. So I don't have any facts or figures to give you, but I'm saying that this is hurting or making the decision tougher to build here. We're really ready to, we want to move in, we want to be a part of something big here, but the cost of this, the 1%, we're talking about housing financial advisors and staff, and we're talking about doing the first floor of that first of all, and then room to expand upstairs. So there could be quite a bit of income in this one building, and I don't have facts to tell, or numbers to tell you, but I mean, that 1% really could add up. Where we can go, Green Township, we can go somewhere else and not pay that, so I just wanted to get that on record.
I fully understand that, and can I make a small comment here? for somebody who's fairly old and have been in the workforce for 51 years, since graduating school, and I've paid an income tax to the city of Cincinnati 30 of those years. I worked for the Dracket Company, I worked for the Reds, I worked for different companies that were in the city of Cincinnati. I just was kind of, if I gotta pay it, I gotta pay it. It's part of my kind of finding a job. I work at Children's Hospital now, so I paid it, I'm paying it now. And, I just don't want I don't want it to be, come across as if we're asking for something that's totally out of the question or unrealistic when other communities have done the same thing. Does it make it unattractive for certain businesses? Maybe. I mean, there's a pro and a con for everything you try to do. And for most of us, we gotta look at a very big picture. We gotta look at the cost of repairing our streets. We gotta look at the cost of doing business, and we gotta try to make decisions based on what we believe is in the best interest of the long-term interest of the village of Cleves. So I do appreciate everything you say, I understand. And if you think anybody here finds it an easy decision to make, I think you'd be mistaken.
And I
It's
understand.
challenging.
I've worked in the Cincinnati before, and I understand that just, it is what it is, you have to deal with it, but the fact that we're looking at something new and we do have a choice. So
I know.
it's a
I
little
understand.
different, so, but that's all I have.
I appreciate it.
Thank you. Is there anybody else that didn't sign in that would like to address council? All right. We will move on to old business. We will have the third reading of ordinance 6/2026. This is an ordinance adopting text amendments and changes of zoning districts for the Village of Cleves zoning code. Whereas Ohio Revised Code Chapter 713 allows for municipal corporations such as the Village of Cleves powers, including but not limited to the enforcement of zoning within its jurisdiction. And whereas the Village of Cleves maintains a locally controlled zoning ordinance via the Village of Cleves zoning code initially adopted and amended many years ago. And whereas the Cleves zoning code has been revised, amended, and updated numerous times since its initial adoption. And whereas the Village Council of Cleves sought to review and initiate potential text amendments to the current Village of Cleves zoning code, which may result in potential changes of zoning districts within the village. And whereas the Village of Cleves zoning code and the enforcement of have been neglected for many years, multiple years. And whereas the Village Council of Cleves voted and approved to update, modernize, and codify the zoning code in partnership with Hamilton County. And whereas Village Council initiated the review and consideration of potential revisions, amendments, and updates to the current Village of Cleves zoning code that will benefit the safety, vitality, financial security, and overall well-being of the Village of Cleves and its residents and property owners. Whereas in compliance with the Ohio Revised Code, the Village of Cleves zoning code, upon receipt of the text amendments recommendation from the Planning Commission, the Village Council scheduled and held public hearings in accordance with the procedures outlined in 713.32 of the Ohio Revised Code within 30 days on commencing in 2024, and held multiple meetings, the last on March 17, 2026. And whereas on April 2nd, 2026, the Village Council completed the public hearings, Planning and Zoning Commission meetings, and council discussions regarding the text amendments recommendation and the Planning Commission, from the Planning Commission. Now therefore be it ordained by the Council of the Village of Cleves, Ohio, and members of elected thereto concurring by vote of majority hereby adopts a completely revised zoning code developed in conjunction with Hamilton County, and is available for public review in digital form on the Village of Cleves website, and print review by appointment at the Village Municipal Building located at 101 North Miami Avenue, Cleves, Ohio. This is the third and final reading for this ordinance. Mr. Babel's not here tonight, but he put in a lot of work with this, and Chris Schneider from Hamilton County has worked with us in developing our updates. If council has any discussion, or if anybody has any questions, Chris is here tonight. He can help answer questions or go through the process. He did at our first reading, he did give a presentation on the changes and the updates.
No, I think this was long overdue. I think it was necessary that it be done. It was not a quick process. If we had hoped to have this revitalized in 3 months, we were sadly mistaken. But I think it's something that needed to be done, and once it's done, it will be much easier to keep up with it and do what we need to do. As the clerk in the past, like I said, I was the clerk for 18 years here. I was responsible for that zoning code. People would come in and look, and it was 1966 or something.
I think it was 68.
68?
I think so.
Yeah, and so it needed to be done, no doubt about it. And there were a lot of ordinances we passed to adjust that, but it all had to be put together in one document. So I think it's a necessary thing, and I'm very happy to see us get it completed.
This is the third reading, and we can entertain a motion for this. I do just want to point out to council, this is a big change, and though I would like for all council members to be present and give their input, especially Ted, since he worked so hard for so long on this, it is important that I let council know that the mini planning grant that we've been approved for is on hold until we get this legislation passed. So if anyone would like to introduce the ordinance, we would,
I'm happy to introduce, what ordinance is it, number?
I'm sorry, it's ordinance 6/2026.
I'm happy to introduce ordinance number 6, adopting text amendments and changes of the zoning districts, and move to adopt.
Second.
It's been moved by Mrs. Bolton, second by Mrs. Angeline, that we adopt ordinance ordinance 6/2026, the ordinance adopting text amendments and changes of zoning districts for the Village of Cleves zoning code. Can I have a roll call, Cindy?
Yes. Mr. Burns?
Yes.
Miss Angeline?
Yes.
Miss Bolton?
Yay.
Miss Kemp?
Yes.
Chris, I just want to thank your team. You guys are a wonderful group of people. We couldn't have done this without you guys. So both you and our BZA volunteers that attended, 15 meetings. So this has been a year and a half in the works, and I appreciate all of you. Thank you.
And I just want to say, I feel very comfortable, even though we got 2 council people missing, because we did do this ordinance by 3 readings. So the public has had more than ample opportunity to weigh in, and I don't want to delay it.
Thank you, council, for that. Next order of business is the second reading of the Village of Cleves income tax ordinance. Section 1, authority to levy tax, purpose of tax. Section 1A, to provide funds for the purposes of general municipal operations, maintenance, new equipment, extension and enlargement of municipal services and facilities, and capital improvements. The Village of Cleves hereby levies an annual municipal income tax on income qualifying wages, commissions, and other compensation on net profits as hereinafter provided. Section 1B1, the annual tax is levied at a rate of 1%. The tax is levied at a uniform rate on all persons residing in or earning or receiving income in the Village of Cleves. The tax is levied on income qualifying wages, commissions, and other compensation, and on net profits as hereinafter provided in section 3 of this ordinance and other sections as they may apply. Section 1, number 2, or B2, the allocation of funds generated by the income tax shall be for general operating expenses and will supplement the village in sustaining the overall mission statement of the Village of Cleves. Section 1C, the tax on income and the withholding tax established by this ordinance are authorized by Article 18, Section 3 of the Ohio Constitution. The tax is levied in accordance with and is intended to be consistent with the provisions and limitations of the Ohio Revised Code 718. This ordinance is effective for tax years beginning on or after the 2027, correct?
No, 12:31.
On or after 12/31/2026. Section 2 definitions. Any term used in this chapter ordinance that is not otherwise defined in this chapter or ordinance has the same meaning as when used in a comparable context and laws of the United States relating to federal income taxation or in title I'm sorry, I don't know my Roman numerals. Title LV11 of the ORC.
57.
67? 57? In Title 57, i.e. LV11, II, of the ORC, unless a different meaning is clearly required. If a term used in this chapter ordinance that is not otherwise defined in this chapter ordinance is used in a comparable context in both the laws of the United States relating to federal income tax and in Title LVII of the ORC, and the use of is not consistent, then the use of the term in the laws of the United States relating to federal income tax shall control over the use of the term in Title LVII of the ORC. Section 2B. The singular shall include the plural, and the masculine shall include the feminine and the gender neutral. Section 2C, as used in this chapter ordinance. Section 2C1. Adjusted federal taxable income for a person required to file as a C corporation or for a person that has elected to be taxed as a C corporation under C 24D of this division means a C corporation's federal taxable income before net operating losses and special deductions as determined under the Internal Revenue Code adjusted as follows. Lost my page. Oh, okay.
Because it's 47 pages, so
Oh.
we're just reading the definitions
Okay.
of section.
That is all of that. I do want to point out, this is the second reading. The third reading will take place at the July the 8th council meeting, which is the second Wednesday of next month. We will not be voting at that time because we do have a council member that will be out of town. In a matter of such importance as this income tax, I think it's imperative that all members of council be here to comment and vote. So we will be voting on this at the August the 12th council meeting, which is the second Wednesday of August. All right, moving on to new business. Next matter of business is resolution number 11, 2026. This is a resolution authorizing the transfer of funds as an advance from the general fund to the Parks Fund. This was discussed in finance. I'll go ahead and talk about it, Lyndon, you can skip over it in your report. The Park Fund advancement, we are doing this, we're advancing $5,000 from the general fund to the Park Fund, is to be used for upfront cost, and it will be reimbursed at a later date following the receipt of an $8,600 grant, which the parks received. The grant is, you pay everything up front and then you submit for reimbursement. So the Park Fund doesn't have adequate funds at the moment for all the upfront costs, so we are loaning from the general fund to the Park Fund $5,000. When the grant's received, it will go back from the Park Fund back to the general fund. Are there any questions about this?
I would just like to add that this is not uncommon because the parks has a lot of overhead costs initially. And it takes, you gotta get through the soccer season before you really get the bulk of your revenue in. So last year, we advanced 12,000, and you get it back the same year you advance it. So we will get it back before the end of the year. It's like a loan, they call it in advance.
From the general fund.
Yeah.
If there's no further questions or discussions, I would accept a motion to adopt resolution number 11.
Motion it.
What number is the resolution?
It's number
Oh,
11,
11.
2026.
Okay.
And Deanna Kemp has motioned.
I'll second. Oh,
Go ahead.
Who
Go
wants
ahead,
to- Who is it?
Mary, it's Mary.
Okay, Mary.
Give it to Mary.
Something about Mary. It's been motioned by Mrs. Kemp and second by Mrs. Angeline to adopt resolution number 11/2026, a resolution authorizing the transfer of funds in an advance from the general fund to the Parks Fund. Can I have a roll call, Cindy?
Mr. Burns,
Yes.
Miss Angeline,
Yes.
Miss Bolton,
Yay.
Miss Kemp.
Yes.
Want to? All right, the next one will be ordinance number 8/2026. This is going to be an ordinance amending the employee handbook to include cybersecurity governance and delegating administrative policy. This is something that is required for us to be in compliance with House Bill 96 regarding cybersecurity. I'm gonna let Justin read this one and talk a little bit more about it because he's the one that has been proactive with this.
And I'll read this in just a minute. Beforehand, so under the House Bill 96 legislation, there's a host of things that are required by municipalities to do to become compliant by July 1st of this year. Formal policy establishment's one of those. In order to comply with the policies, there's a lot of groundwork occurring on the back end. One is purchasing some new hardware and other IT protections. Policies is the last portion of this. In addition, we have training scheduled for all of our employees, so that'll be occurring here in the coming weeks. At this point, this is the last piece to make us compliant with the House bill by the July 1st deadline. So this is an ordinance amending the Village of Cleves Employee Handbook, establishing an information security and cybersecurity governance program, authorizing the village administrator to adopt, implement, modify, and maintain administrative policies, procedures, standards, and directives necessary for the efficient operation of village government, and declaring it an well, we're not declaring an emergency.
Well.
Whereas.
So, are we doing it like a first reading then?
We are discussing it at tonight's meeting. We will not be able to vote on it because we have to have 3/4 and we don't have that. So we will be scheduling an emergency meeting later in the month, when everyone is available to actually vote on this ordinance.
So we will declare it an emergency at our special
that
meeting. I'm
time.
just gonna
Okay.
read the full text tonight,
That's
so there'll
fine.
be a second reading of this. Whereas the Village of Cleves maintains an employee handbook governing the conduct, responsibilities, and expectations of village employees, and whereas the village council finds it necessary and appropriate to establish a framework for the adoption and administration of operational personnel, technology, risk management, and cybersecurity policies necessary to protect village assets, information, infrastructure, personnel, and operations. And whereas the village council further finds that federal and state laws, regulatory requirements, insurance requirements, cybersecurity standards, operational needs, and best practices continually evolve and require timely updates to village administrative policies and procedures. And whereas the village council desires to provide administrative flexibility while retaining legislative authority over matters expressly reserved to council by law. Do I need to read the sections out loud?
No.
Any questions related to that?
I will be sending out an email later to all of council so that we can get everyone's availability and get a date scheduled. If possible, if we could maybe tie it into the finance committee meeting, which is the fourth Wednesday.
Yeah, the 24th.
Yeah, so I'll send out an email, on that if everybody can just reply to that. So the next order of business will be a motion to reclassify a waterworks employee, from a Water Tech 1 to a Water Tech 2.
Is that another one we have to wait on? Is that an emergency?
It's just a motion.
Okay, good,
I believe you
okay.
have the motion in front of you with the language we drafted out of finance, Linda.
Yeah. Well, is it on the agenda, the wording, or is it?
No, the
The
motion's
actual
on the
ordinance.
agenda, but the motion's printed off of the language if you'd like to make it.
Written.
So what we're talking about is Mr. Gilligan, he is now a water, operator. He has, shown proficiency in in many ways. He's demonstrated qualifications, the knowledge, to be promoted from a Water Tech 1 to a Water Tech 2. He's a water operator. He can overhaul the hydrants. I think he's the first person in our waterworks employment history that actually has been able to do that. Am I correct on that?
It's a training program that he took.
And he's also working with the cages mapping. So this was recommended by our administrator. It was discussed at the finance meeting and supported by the finance committee. So this will just be a motion.
So moved.
Second.
So it was motioned by Mrs. Bolton, second by Mr. Burns, to promote Waterworks employee Daniel Gilligan from Water Tech 1 to Water Tech 2. This is it? No, that's not much.
We don't want to make him sound too wonderful.
He is wonderful. We want to make him wonderful
Okay.
within the Cleves Waterworks Department and just adjusting his compensation accordingly. It was motioned by Mrs. Bolton, second by Mr. Burns. Can we have a roll call, please?
Yes. Mr. Burns?
Yes.
Miss Angeline?
Yes.
Miss Bolton?
Yay.
Miss Kemp?
Yes.
Thank you. And then the next thing to talk about is our 250 celebration, and donations that have been coming in regards to that. So our 250 celebration is, everything's planned, going as we are hoping. It will be Saturday, June 27th, over in the Cleves Community Park, beginning at 1:30. There's a full day of activities and events, starting out with a historical tribute. There's gonna be food trucks, a beer garden, vendors, games, activities for kids. Also live music, multiple bands. The headlining act is the Naked Karate Girls. And then we'll finish off the evening at dark with fireworks. So in this celebration, and our committee that has worked so hard getting all of this together, we have had donations coming in. So we need a motion to accept the donations and contributions made to the Village of Cleves 250 celebrations.
I'll make a motion to accept any and all donations received on behalf of the American 250 celebration.
I'll second.
So it has been seconded by Mrs. Bolton it's been motioned by Mrs. Bolton, second by Ms. Angeline to accept the donations for the American 250 celebration. Can I have a roll call?
Mr. Burns?
Yes.
Miss Angeline?
Yes.
Miss Bolton?
Yay.
Miss Kemp?
Yes.
Okay, now we'll move on to the administrator's report.
First, I'd like to thank all of our donors for the $13,250 that we received to help make the America 250 celebration what it's going to be. Just want to read those out real quick to recognize them. Mr. John Booth, Wardway Fuels, Jay's Mulch, Velocity House, Hibbert Armory, Lower 48 Instruments, Marilees, O'Rourke, Cleves Auto Parts, Kramer Plumbing, Casey Storage, Dennis George, Lost Bridge Beverage Company, IOK Four Wheelers, American Scaffolding, Woodlands Ridge, SES, Troy Gillespie, Complete Contractors, Beer House, Robert Jones Plumbing, Abercrombie and Associates, CW Custom Homes, and Ann's Tavern. Really appreciate their generous support. Some waterworks projects updates. The final tie-in for Jordan Road occurred this week. That's completed. We're now working with residents who wish to tie in. Construction's also commenced on the Addiston Water Main Interconnect project. This project shouldn't take longer than 2.5 months to complete. They broke ground beginning of this week. Our utility billing software, and really, I guess, globally, the online utility billing platform, and that initiative is delayed at this point. Not happy to report that. We're working with PNC on the implementation of that, and in the last moment, our current utility billing software company notified us that they would charge in excess of $20,000 to create a CSV file for uploads. They're less than willing to work with us, so at this point, as a matter of due diligence, I think it's important that we reach out to other utility billing software companies to see if they'll do it cheaper before we pay the $20,000 ransom to CMI. Floodplain and environmental compliance. I had a community assistance visit that was scheduled by Ohio DNR. The last time the community had one of those was in 1994. And so they reached out to me with some questions, and they wanted to do a visit. That was earlier this week. It was a great meeting. What we learned from that is there's some areas of concern within the village regarding unauthorized dumping and fill activities, and specifically in floodplains and floodways. Specifically, one of those is the gravel pit area that's currently owned and operated by O'Rourke. I'll be working with the law director and ODNR to address those matters, and I'll update you soon with our progress on that. We've covered cyber security and House Bill 96 compliance. We continue to work with that. We're on track to be compliant by July 1st. Waterworks is also in the process of finalizing our 2025 Consumer Confidence Report, or the CCR report. When that's completed, it'll be mailed out to all of our consumers and it'll be posted on the website. Just some local authority updates. Our court clerk and myself have worked to reestablish Mayor's Court with the Ohio Supreme Court. That's been approved. We've also petitioned to the Ohio BMV to be able to interface with them for BMV license-related activities. And discussions are ongoing with Baldwin regarding the purchase of court software to begin our Mayor's Court operations again later this year. Any other questions?
Has RCIC yet installed, or are we still on hold waiting for them?
They're in the middle of moving locations, so we have our final approval and we have our hardware. It's just a matter of them being able to schedule us to come on site for the install, but everything is ready for them.
And what do you anticipate? When do you anticipate the possibility of that happening?
I spoke to our contact a week and a half ago. He said it wouldn't be last week or this week, and he would reach out to me. He works limited hours, so hopefully hear from him this week, and
hopefully in the next month or so.
it should be in the next 30 days.
Okay.
Preferably in the next 2 weeks.
Any questions for Mr. Riddick? All right, next order of business would be my report. We've already touched on many of the things that I had on my list. I have had some council members reach out to me in regards to our zoning, code enforcement, and buildings inspector, as far as they would like to know more of what's going on. So I have talked with Justin, and we'll be working on getting some type of report, for like a monthly report from Mr. Linden Schmidt of properties that are currently on the list being worked on. And as well as something from our building inspector as far as like permits, etc., so that council has an idea of what's going on within the village. That way, if you're approached and someone's asking about a particular piece of property, if it's already on Ed's list and being worked on, you guys can, you don't have to start from scratch and notify Ed. You can know that it's already on the list. Also, at last month's council meeting, we discussed among ourselves about establishing a code of conduct and a social media policy for the Village of Cleves elected officials, so that we can govern ourselves in our actions. As the elected officials, I believe we should hold ourselves to a higher standard than most, and I think everybody else is in agreement with me on that. I'm working with our solicitor, Mr. Merkel. Still working on that. Once we have some type of draft, I'll get it out to council so that all the members can review it and give their input on it. One other item, we do need to have a budget public hearing prior to next month's meeting. So, Linda, this is probably on your list, I'll let you talk more about it when you give your financial report
Okay.
if you'd like.
I thought, darn, she's gonna take care of that one.
Yeah.
get it all.
Well, we can go ahead and talk about that and take
Between
care of that.
Justin and Jerry, I won't have
You
much
won't
to
have nothing
report.
left.
I'll leave that one for you.
Okay, thanks, Jerry. I
The
appreciate it.
only other thing that I have this month is I would like to wish all the fathers in our community happy Father's Day this month. So then we will move on to our finance committee. Mrs. Bolton.
Okay, I don't have as much. I was gonna mention the public hearing because we hadn't brought that up yet. It'll be at 6:45, which is 15 minutes before the scheduled council meeting. That's what we used to do all the time. It's, just a process that we have to follow. It was also mentioned by Cindy that we're getting ready for our 24 and 25-year audit. They just completed 22, 23, but the timing of them just works out that we're due for another. So we'll be getting ready for that state audit to come in. The income tax was brought up. It was a public hearing open to the public to discuss the income tax, but really nobody showed up to address it at that night. But we did take the time to kind of go through all the pluses and talk about a little of the thought process that went into that. One of the things that was mentioned was to mention the kind of financial responsibility that we have and how we intend to spend that income tax money. And we roughly put it in ranges. I don't like to say, well, we're gonna spend 30% of it on this, because every year you just don't know what projects you'll have and how much you might wanna dedicate. But streets, infrastructure, roughly 25 to 35% range is what we would like to spend that money on. Public safety contracts, what we anticipate the increases to be for police, fire, and EMT, 20 to 30%. Land improvements, 15 to 20%. Building and other structures, 6 to 8%. And any emergency or appropriate village need, whether it be salaries or special events, would also be under consideration. I think it's important to mention that in 2 years or 3 years, when the implications, no, implementation of this income tax, when it comes through, you could have 4 different people sitting in these seats. Maybe all 6 will be different. But it is our commitment that we're gonna be fiscally responsible and try to prioritize the projects that need the most attention. So that was mentioned during our finance meeting. We also went ahead and clarified some confusion over the Board of Public Appeals, the Clean Court, and Mayor's Court. 3 different bodies, and we went over the differences between the 3. And I don't know, Justin, if you want to go ahead and, because you might explain it better than I. Just real quick, a quick overview of the 3 different.
Sure, so the Board of Zoning Appeals and the Clean Court are civil venues, right? So they address civil ordinance violations. Specifically, the Board of Zoning Appeals is you've requested something or you want to do something that goes against our zoning manual. And essentially you're denied and you appeal it, you come in front of the Board of Zoning Appeals for a variance. Essentially you're asking for us to allow something that's otherwise against the ordinance, zoning manual. And then Mayor's Court covers all criminal ordinances, whether that's loud noise, overtime parking, discharging a firearm in village limits, and the list goes on and on.
Okay, so we had that clarified for us, and I think it's important to bring it up again so that the residents can sort of understand it. We discussed that we are one of the few communities in Hamilton County that has a clean court. So yay for us. We've broken a path in some direction anyway. We've already talked about House Bill 96 and the infrastructure and security requirements that we have to meet. We've talked about the advance, the donations, the promotion of Daniel, all that stuff was mentioned during finance. We also talked a little bit about the website. I actually volunteered myself to help get trained on it, because there was some concern that some of our information wasn't getting posted quickly enough. So we did talk about the website and who could get trained on it, who could help make sure that our website is kept up to date. And we also are under the understanding that we may need to upgrade some equipment in order to be more proficient about that, especially when it comes to our taping and that kind of stuff. We did talk about the Coleman Woods detention basins. It is on our mind. We keep pushing it off because one detention base could possibly be as much as $50,000. And we've got 6 of them, 7 of them, 5 of them. So that is a major cost, but it is on our minds. We are discussing it. We're trying to get a way to figure it out, to help the residents up in that area. And the residents at the bottom of the hill that might be affected if one of them fails. And then we talked about new development and proposed new development, and economic development. And I think it's important to also mention, we went over it a little bit, but I think it's also important to remember that the income tax does have an economic development advantage, that you can form joint economic districts with your neighbors and with communities that don't have the authority to levy an income tax. So it gives us some opportunities to work with neighbors and bring more income in to the village of Cleves to make us sustainable. I think I've covered everything and glanced over things that have already been mentioned. But I think that meeting was taped. I don't know if anything ever came of it. Was it ever posted, do you know?
I still got to piece it together.
Okay.
Crashing.
Okay, but it was listed as a public hearing on the income tax, and no one showed up for this one, so. I don't know if anybody has any other questions.
All right, there will be no safety committee report as Ted is not here, and the safety committee meeting for June was canceled, so there's nothing to report there. Parks committee, Mr. Burns?
I just got a safety question.
Yeah.
We had discussed flock cameras. Have we, in fact, I was reading more about them. Have we indeed agreed to install one and gone through a process, or is it already in, or is that still under discussion?
I believe that's still in discussions in the committee, because I don't think it's come any further than that.
So we're discussing.
Okay, still in discussions in the safety committee.
The reading that I had, it's just a comment, said there are cities tearing them out and hooding them because of civil rights infractions. So I wanted that to be a part of the discussion, but that will be then. The parks, much less somber. Let's see, I will go down the line chronologically. We followed up on what kind of barriers will be installed to prevent motor traffic through the baseball field alley, which is a request of the soccer community. That is going to be some embedded telephone posts with a removable or locked chain to bar the cars. So that problem is solved and will be resourced according to the city manager. We discussed what kind of policies we'd like to see in the parks per the remit from the last meeting here at council. It starts with a discussion of a smoking policy, hoping to collaborate with or benefit from Strive funding. The general sense of the committee is that we didn't want to imbue view our parks attendants with the responsibility of policing this, or the attitude of policing this, or the obligation of policing it, making it basically a hostile environment. We were much more attracted to the idea of some suggestive signs that say we value non-smoking environments, here's information, and so forth. But that and other policies are going to be the subject of ongoing conversations starting in July. Justin was tasked with drafting those for the July meeting. And I don't know if we'll get into aircraft at that time. Hopefully it'll be a little bit more holistic than just one policy. Yes, in a second. It will also address each of the spaces, including the quad, the skate park, and the athletic park.
As you're doing your thing, if you draft a policy, We Thrive will give us signs that say, something to the effect of no smoking, young lungs at play. But they need a policy stating no smoking.
The bit about it being multi-parks led to a conversation about some nuisance traffic we're having in the quad park between kids after school and homeless populations. We didn't come to resolution, but we came to understanding that it's going on. We discussed what it would take to get the Gaga Ball and some picnic tables into the skate park, former skate park, and encouraged Justin and John to execute on that and to use their judgment on a turf addition to the surface underneath the Gaga Ball, and any necessary signage such as please don't walk your dogs on the turf in the Gaga Ball pit, which we hope just by saying it once that we can ward off anyway. The rest of the discussion was on the 250th, tying up loose ends, connecting people for the different functions, the last forms of the fireworks, decisions on do we want this tent or that tent, vendors, how to have a conversation about the structure of beer tickets, ride tickets, and so forth in our upcoming final meeting. We did agree to having an additional bouncy house aimed at younger populations, and talked about the strategy and expense of publicity, and I believe Justin was going to execute a contract with Eagle Country to put it on their website and put it on the air multiple times, as well as other considerations, I think. But
It's being advertised in Eagle Country now, and I think the goal is to be on 700 with Willie Cunningham in the coming week or two.
You said it's at 95.5?
99.3.
Yes,
99.3, okay.
And they got the good stuff too.
Because I say, okay.
Okay. And then the only thing that I would say is most of us are going to be out of town next week for our regularly scheduled meeting, so I'm pretty sure we have to cancel that. I'm suggesting that we meet at the same time on the following Monday, which is what, the 22nd? Is that okay with the members that are here today?
Yes.
So I'll send an email to Penny to post that.
If you can send it to me, I'll update it since she's out of town.
Okay.
Thank you.
And that's all.
Any questions for Mr. Burns?
I have a question about ball fields at the park. I also drove by on my way to work and other places and noticed that the park gates were closed. I assumed that we had flooding issues several weeks ago due to the 4 straight days of rain we had.
Right.
So I'm just asking, is that what deterred us from being able to get the baseball fields playable? Do we have a reason why we didn't weren't able to get the fields playable?
Yes, we have limited staff. It's monumental to clean the park after a flood. I don't think the average person understands the volume and the workload that goes into that, from picking up corn stalks to paying thousands of dollars and renting a water truck, which only a CDL licensed person can operate, and disinfecting and spraying off the playground equipment and the basketball courts and gaga ball, and cleaning off the walking path, and then hauling all of that away, on top of still mowing, because after all that rain and flooding, then the grass grows quicker, and on top of everything else that they have on their normal work slate, on mowing US 50 and all of our right-of-ways and village-owned property, and anything else that comes up. I mean, between the storm drains and just all their normal work. And so I guess the answer to that question is, could we have got the ball fields done quicker? Yes, we could have. But at the sacrifice of other equally important things in the village. And so this is a recurrent issue, right?
Yes.
It's frustrating to people when the
Yeah.
ball fields aren't playable and it's sunny out. And I agree. At the same time, it would, in a sense, be penny rich and pound foolish to just drag those ball fields and drag in all the river mud and silt, and let them play on that, because it's good for a minute, and then in the summer, in the fall, when we have other teams practicing on it, it just becomes dust and blows away.
I 100% agree. I understand completely. I'm a baseball person. I also was park coordinator down here for years. It's something we deal with every single spring. I just wish we'd have had this discussion when the gentleman who brought up the issues, because I think it's important to remind people that last year, the flood cleanup took 3 weeks, I think. I was a person that was unhappy because it was earlier in the spring and our potholes weren't getting filled. And I understand, you know, I'm like, in my mind, do you get ball fields ready or do you fill potholes that people are driving over? So I completely understand, and I kind of wish we'd addressed that issue when he was here.
I had an hour-long meeting with
Okay.
Mr. Cox down at the ball field.
Okay.
And my next part of that is, we could have done a better job, and we need to do a better job. We need to prioritize, specifically when it comes to the park, we need to prioritize better what gets done, especially in flooding season. You have a short window of baseball and softball season.
Yes.
And while we want kids to be able to go play basketball there recreationally, and we want them to be able to take their families to play on, you know, the swing set and slides, that, in my opinion, should not be as important as allocating our time to getting the ball fields playable with their short window, and we need to improve on that. And I've had a conversation with our parks coordinator, the service director, and moving forward, we're going to.
Okay, and I just wanted, as an elected official, I just wanted that assurance as well, because we get questioned too sometimes. And years ago, I know our phone system is messed up, I know that, it's not like what used to be. But we did have a phone line at one time that people could call and a message was left. It was changed and changeable by, I think I was one person who could change it. But we would leave a message, this is Tuesday, June whatever, the park is closed due to flooding.
We use Twitter, and there's an Excel sheet on our website that we use at this point. That was not being updated like it should have been. That's another operational oversight that's been addressed that won't happen in the future. So there's always ways we can do things better. We've addressed it.
Okay.
We'll learn from it. We'll do better.
I'm all about baseball, so
Yeah, but the one
my
point
ears go up when someone mentions that.
I just want to make one more point with the park being closed. And the reason, you know, it rains for 4 days and then it's sunny and everybody wants to get out because they've been cooped up. And then you drive down to the community park and you see the gates there. And people are like, well, why are the gates there? I just want to walk. When it floods, it brings in all of that silt, and it's a safety hazard. I mean, it's slick, like slick as snot.
I know.
And it might as well be an ice rink. And that's why we have to lock it until we rent
I
a big
understand.
water truck and spray it. I just want to say that to anybody that might watch the video and doesn't understand that's why we have to keep it closed until our service department can rent the equipment and spray it off at a minimum.
We only have one CDL person too, don't we?
2.
Two, okay.
What would that Twitter be under? I mean, how could somebody look that up?
What is the handle on that, Daniel? Cleves OH Parks?
I believe so.
Who is able to update that? Is just you, or can Daniel do it?
Daniel has control of it.
Okay,
Yeah, and not to say it was like Daniel's failure, I think it was just the assumption that since there was the flooding, it did need to be updated daily. And so we've just had another discussion, we are gonna update it daily.
I think
Just
that's
so people
smart. I think that's smart, because being someone that played for years, I mean, I used to drive all the way across town, even though it was raining at home, to get to the ball field and find out it wasn't raining there.
Right.
And that was before they had messages and places where you could call to find out if the game was still on. So I get it for the parents that do the driving and assume that the game's gonna be on, and I get it, so.
I think we talked about this last year maybe. What's the possibility of hiring an extra person just for parks for the summer?
I was gonna bring that up. This is a repetitive, reoccurring problem every year, and maybe we do wanna consider next year, even if it's a couple high school kids.
Yeah.
Let's bring
Just
it up
remember,
at next finance,
Yeah.
or
It is
if not the
something that-
next one, the one after.
Yeah, it is
Let's
something
put it
that
on the
we should
agenda.
talk about.
Okay. There were years we could not commit to dragging those fields. We had 2 maintenance people. 2 maintenance people, and there was just no way that we could keep 4 ball fields dragged and ready to play in the spring with that manpower. And that's, at least we have more people than we had then, but it's still a commitment that there's other things they gotta do. They gotta keep grasses down along the highways. They've got a full, in the spring especially, they've got a full load. And we have, let's see what we can do to help that burden next year.
Is there stuff high school kids could do? Cause I know there's some stuff that
There's
they
limits
can't.
on some of the stuff that,
Right.
I don't know.
We-
College kids might be a better bet.
Yeah.
Over 18 might be a better bet when it comes to operating. Dragging ball fields may not be an issue, but you still got insurance liabilities for a 16-year-old maybe. But we'll discuss all of that. Somebody retired that can come down in the summer and help.
Just
you
a
know.
couple hours a week or something, or?
Well, it takes more than that. 4 ball fields to keep it playable. It's a couple hours a day.
Especially the beginning of spring. You know, as the summer goes on, it may not be as many hours.
Practice fields don't need
Well,
the care that
We can.
fields do for game playing.
we
I
can
have some
talk
ideas.
Talk about that and plan
Yeah,
for
we'll
next
bring it
year
up.
to implement
Yeah.
something to hopefully alleviate some of these issues, as far as at least the manpower issues. One other thing I wanted to mention, so Edgewater Racetrack is hosting that Slamology
Oh,
this
yeah.
weekend.
Oh, it's this weekend?
It's this weekend, the 12th, I think.
I'll be out of town.
Yeah, it's this weekend, so
I won't
I'm
be
really,
here.
they are hosting the event. They're using the school as far, on Friday for registration for all of the stuff. And,
Oh, cool.
Grandma Rama is hosting the campers over there, so I'm really curious, I don't know if everybody knows what the Slamology is, but, do you know what it is? You're
Yeah.
looking at me.
It's the-
Huh?
No, I've heard
Oh.
different things, but I don't.
Well, it's all about cars and modifying, and they've got, you know, the hydraulics and
It's
all the
loud.
fancy stuff, but also the loud.
I live in Westgate and we used to be able to hear it
Oh,
on
I
Friday
think we
nights
will
when they.
all hear it all
had the
day
racing
Saturday this weekend, but
Edgefield.
I'm really curious to see how that goes and how it affects us down here, so.
They won't be doing
Everybody
bridge
keep
work this
your
weekend.
eyes and ears open, and
It starts
Keep
Friday,
your hearing aids out.
registration is Friday, the event is Saturday and Sunday.
and they'll be doing bridge work Friday. That's gonna be a mess.
Yeah,
Well, you go East Miami, so I don't
They
know.
changed the
There's
lights.
ways to
Traffic
avoid
should
it.
go about a lot easier. They changed the lights.
I thought I noticed
Oh,
that
did
today
they?
with the lights, the timing on them seemed to be different.
Okay.
Help with the flow.
All right. Anything else? attention. I would entertain a motion to adjourn. I heard a motion.
I'll motion.
I heard that. Anybody
I'm
second?
trying to give other people
I'll
opportunity.
second.
It's been a motion by Mrs. Kemp, second by Ms. Angela, to adjourn tonight's meeting. Roll call, please.
Mr. Burns.
Yes.
Miss Angeline.
Yes.
Miss Bolton.
Yay.
Miss Kemp.
Yes.
Meeting adjourned. Thank you, everyone, for attending.